Now what I have right here is a very, very important car for Mercedes because yes, this is the new CLA. For those of you who are subscribed to the channel, you'll know that I drove one in Copenhagen, but now it stands here and I have the key to the UK version. So I'm going to be testing it out on UK roads and see if it has what it takes to take on the competition. Okay, let's start with the first thing. This used to be called the CLA Coupe, but now, officially speaking, it is called the CLA Saloon, even though it still very much does have a curvier kind of shape to it, especially at the back there, very much like the previous CLA. But yes, it is now officially referred to as the Saloon. And it stands here with a lot of Mercedes logos on the front. And if you look really, really closely, they're now actually illuminated. Look at that, has a little animation pattern for when you turn it on, then they all come on. Yeah, there's a lot of stars on the front now. And yes, this kind of really isn't any different to any other Mercedes-Benz models. They have very much leaned into the design of putting loads of Mercedes logos on front. I mean, even my car has that, although I will add they're not illuminated like this. But for the actual CLA design, still very curvy, as I mentioned. They have power domes on the front here, which I think is brilliant because it just aids that sort of sporty look. Notice as well, I did touch on this on the CLA First Impressions, new star lights, so they are completely different, and the rear is completely different as well. So yes, the front and the rear has a light bar, which a lot of Mercedes EVs have, again, sort of kind of leaned into over the recent years. But one thing I wanted to touch on was this car just behind me versus this one. Now, I actually hadn't planned this, but as this car was here next to the one I have, so I have this one, which is a CLA 250 Sport. This one is AMG line, and I just wanted to point out some of the key differences because a lot of you do sometimes ask what the difference between Sport and AMG line. So in the UK, there's Sport, AMG line Premium, and AMG line Premium Plus is coming very, very soon, I'm told. Now, differences between Sport and AMG line, well, if you look very, very closely down here, you'll notice this is completely flat, whereas here there's a bit more styling. Basically, just keep an eye out on the car. You'll see there's lots more chrome elements around the car. Also, the pop-out handles. There are no pop-out handles in this one. These are body-coloured handles on this one that I have on test, whereas this one has pop-out handles, which are, of course, in chrome. Now, I've already mentioned about the AMG body styling, but of course the AMG styling does continue to the inside on AMG line as well. So keep an eye out for those kind of sportier elements. The seats change, and of course the steering wheel changes as well. So these are just things to consider if you want to go for the more sportier look. There is also Premium Plus coming soon, potentially by the time you're watching this. So this is being recorded, what are we today? 14th of October. I believe around November time there's going to be Premium Plus for this car as well. I tried to find out from Mercedes exactly what was going to be on it. I know there's going to be the passenger screen, but then there's going to be other things like a head-up display and some other things. I'm hoping for a premium sound system, but we'll get onto more on that in a minute. Now, as with all reviews, I always like to include the dimensions, but what I thought I'd do with this particular one is also compare Mercedes-Benz's competitors. So for the CLA, it's 4,731 millimeters, width without the mirrors 1855 and with the mirrors 2021 and height 1469. But what about the previous CLA? Well, here's all the dimensions for that. Tesla Model 3, BMW i4 and the BYD Seal, which is also featured on my channel as well. So what about pricing? Well, as I mentioned, the one I have on test here today is a standard car, which I love because I feel like standard cars do kind of paint a better picture because it's okay seeing a fully spec'd car, but sometimes it's quite good and quite grounding to see like a standard car. So the only optional extra that this car has is the paint, so that's sapphire blue metallic if you're interested, and the CLA starts from about £45,500 and kind of goes up from there depending of course on the package. So AMG line being 49,375, the premium package with AMG line 51,770, and unfortunately with Premium Plus, as it's very early days at the moment at the time of recording, I don't know what the price is, although I have heard it will just be a few thousand more than that. So let's take a guess and say 53 to 55,000. Now, of course, this being the shape of a saloon, the boot capacity that you see right here is 405 litres, which is good. I'd say that the opening is a little restrictive, but there again, that's just what saloons and coupes are like. Now, annoyingly, Mercedes didn't actually provide, I couldn't see anywhere on their brochures or anything, on the boot capacity literage with the seats down. So I'll fold them down here so you can see. Now they are also a 40-20-40 split as well, which is good, but Mercedes have a trick up their sleeve for an EV. For, I guess, the first time in their range, this car now has a frunk. So yes, I wish all EV manufacturers had frunks because, well, just adds a little bit more storage. And let me know, is it frunk or is it fruit? I'm going to go with frunk. But yes, 101 litres as you see here, all waterproofed with the sealing there, which is great. And yeah, there's a charge cable in there at the moment. And I guess big enough for like a hold-all bag or something. So yeah, pretty good. Previous EVs that Mercedes had like these massive air filters in them to, well, basically just filter out the air on the inside, which I guess was good. But I think most people would have preferred a frunk like this. But yeah, storage is good. Right, one thing I wanted to test was the rear seats, because that wasn't something I could test in Copenhagen. Now guys, if I could ask a huge favour from you right now, believe it or not, about 90% of you watching right now are not subscribed. So all I ask is if you're loving the videos on my channel, if you like this one, hit that subscribe button and help me out. But let's check out these rear seats. Now this is the first time I've actually sat in the back, so well, first things first, instantly this floor is raised, like massively. Look at this leg position here. Now, to be fair, I do have really long legs anyway. That's set up for my driving position. I'm 6'2", longer in the leg, shorter in the body. But even still, I mean, the benefit, there is no transmission tunnel, so that's a bonus, but it is raised a lot. And I get it, EVs do have that kind of issue because that's where the battery is right underneath, so it has to go somewhere without raising it up too much. That's why you usually find EVs in SUVs. But when they're put into a saloon like this, the floor is raised, so worth noting. However, everything else though, headroom is good. You'll notice as well, there is a massive panoramic roof. It's ginormous. It goes behind my head. So that's really good. I'll touch on something you should know about that in just a second. But yeah, overall, I guess the room is good for a saloon coupe styled car. It's just that the floor is raised a lot. There is no centre armrest, I've just noticed as well. So maybe that's on one of the trims, although it would have been good to have that as standard. Again, just worth noting. There are 2 USB-C ports though, which is good, and they are illuminated. So obviously it helps with plugging something in at night, should I say. Now, up front, we have these massive screens. So this one here is 14 inches across, and then this one over here is 10.25. So for reference for any Mercedes owners who are watching, if you have an A-Class, one with the dual widescreen displays, that's the same size. Whereas this one here is much bigger, so a slight upgrade for you. Let's just go through build quality first, and then we'll go through the multimedia system, then we'll take this out on the road. Now, for those of you that don't know, I actually own a Mercedes-Benz A-Class, and let's face it, it's an entry-level car in the world of Mercedes. And I guess this car is also going to be an entry-level car for Mercedes in the future, I guess. We'll have to wait and see. So I expect some plastics, but there again, there is a significant amount of leather, even on the bottom of the doors, which is rare because normally they're plastic. There's actually a lot of leather on the inside of here. There isn't really. There's some scratchy plastic down here in the middle and on the side there and on the glove box, but those aren't places where your hand will go. So realistically, wherever your hand is going to be going, it's going to be some nice softer leathery materials. I guess this is harder plastic, but at least this bit's not high gloss black. The rest of it around here, around the screen, I mean, these bezels are quite thick, and I get it for a car. There's obviously lots of heat, temperature differences between, has to be able to withstand really cold temperatures and really hot temperatures. So there will be a bit of a bezel, but there is a lot of high gloss black here, especially seeing as the launch cars of this don't have the passenger screen. This is just plastic over here. But I don't dislike it, just pointing it out. There is actually a bit of high gloss black just in the middle here, so a cleaning cloth. I actually went to look for the cleaning cloth that I usually keep here, but obviously this isn't my car. But yeah, you might need a clean cloth for that. But otherwise, it's actually all right. There's lots of leather in places, so yeah, that's pretty good. One thing as well from the design that I should add is this roof. Now I mentioned it was standard equipment, which I've got to say is actually pretty good. I guess Mercedes didn't have to do that, but there is no blind. So there is no shading, there is no nothing. Now I will add one thing, that it is heavily tinted. It does apparently reflect a lot of UV. For us in the UK, don't think it'd be an issue whatsoever. Where it might be a bit of an issue is if you live in a hotter climate, but there again, specs might be different. You have to let me know in the comments. So according to Mercedes, there is no need for a roller blind. An infrared film 250nm thick protects against glare, and then there's another 200nm coating that protects against like excessive heat. So yeah, I guess you have to let me know how you guys get on if you own one. Now, when it comes to the multimedia system, as I mentioned, this is a 14-inch screen right here in the middle. For those of you that know your Mercedes, you'll know that this new thing is called MBUX. Whereas I had confirmed from Mercedes that the behind-the-scenes chip architecture is called MBUX, whereas this screen, the actual multimedia system, is MBUX. So yes, for clarification, this is MBUX Generation 4. Now I've actually made a comparison video on all of the different MBUX generations, so I'm going to link that up above if you want to see that, and there's also a link in the description just down below. But yes, it is very, very fluid. I mean, Mercedes-Benz's multimedia systems were pretty good anyway compared with the competition. But yeah, this one is just very much more, even more colourful, even more graphical. It's water-cooled now, has a Unity game engine in it, just to make everything as responsive as possible. And for us, as the end user, and you know, for me being a potential buyer of this car maybe in the future, everything is just so fluid. No matter what you do, it's so snappy. There's no delays at all. I do remember a time, I think it was called Garmin Map Pilot in Mercedes. You click a button and it takes like 2 seconds to register. It was really bad. But yeah, this, super snappy. Now, one thing that is really good with this is, of course, as this is an electric car, an EV, I'm just going to cancel the route here, you can, of course, search for charge points. And Mercedes probably won't appreciate me saying of this brand while I'm sat in this car, but Tesla are renowned for their software, certainly for supercharger networks and that sort of thing. And what they've done here is very, very clever, because they have a thing that used to be called Mercedes Me Charge, but MB Charge is their new thing, where basically when you plot in something on the sat-nav, it'll tell you exactly where to stop and show you all of the charge points nearby. And that's what I've said before in Tesla reviews, that they've just been they've hit that nail on the head when it comes to the infrastructure and that sort of thing. And Mercedes have done a very, very similar thing here. It's just super easy. This is how you search for all the charge points, but if you just type in on the route where you want to go, it will tell you where you need to stop. And of course, we'll go through the range of this car in just a second when we go out on the drive, but it's just under 500 miles range. That's insane. It's incredible. So I don't think many people would actually need to stop at public charging, but we'll touch on more about that in a minute when we get this out. But yes, I'm not going to spend too long on the multimedia system here, just because I'm sure we're all itching to get this out on the road. But yes, as you can see, there's Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Both are wireless if you want to connect your phone up that way. And likewise, if you didn't want to do that, you can actually use music streaming services on here as well. So there's Amazon Music, Spotify, even Audible on here. And you can even play games. But yeah, there's even YouTube on here as well. And RideView that has like Dolby Atmos movies, and then there's Disney Plus. So yeah, they've really, really kitted this out, and there's even an app store on here where you can download additional things as well. So yeah, they've really, really kitted this out. I think I'll have to do a walkthrough guide of this somewhen, probably next year. Oh yes, and before we go out, there's also a new voice assistant. So it used to be called the Hey Mercedes voice assistant, but now it's called the MBUX virtual assistant, and it's this floating orb just up there on the top left. Hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
What is the capital of the UK?
The capital of the United Kingdom is London.
Well, she got that right. So basically, this new voice assistant now attaches itself to large language models. So these are either, I think it was Google, and then also ChatGPT with some integrations in the background. And that's not going to be as fully fledged as like a desktop version where you can just ask it stuff, or like an app on your phone. But the fact it has general knowledge and just things, I remember even on the comparison video that I did, I asked it the difference between kilowatts and kilowatt hours, and it just gave the answer. I've even asked it for help on certain things in the car, and it gives you the answer. So it's pretty cool. I feel like because it's just attached to these large language models, these AIs, I feel like I'd have to like spend a whole day testing it because it can do a lot of stuff now. And yes, I probably would say it's much better than Siri. We all know how bad that is on iPhones. Okay, so quick tour around the front here for storage, and then we'll get this out on the road. So massive storage in there. You could put your whole arm in there almost. Cup holders there. Wireless charging there for some packages of Mercedes. Otherwise, it's just a storage area. Buttons here. And of course, then glove box just over there. Kind of on the smaller side, but at least there is a glove box. And then door pockets just on the side. They're actually quite big as well. They are plastic on the inside, but then they're kind of coated in this leather just on the outside. And of course then there's a bit of storage under here as well. So there's 2 USB-C ports under there for charging phones, iPads, tablets, that sort of thing. Cool. Right, let's get this out on the road and let you know how it drives on UK roads. Now, the starting procedure for this car is completely different. And actually, to be fair, I'm glad Mercedes have done this because there is no start-stop button. Sort of. It's now all done on the stalk. So the stalk is exactly the same, reverse, drive, park. But now you don't need to turn the car on as such. As long as you've got the key, foot on the brake, just straight into drive, and it turns itself on. Yes, that's what EVs should be like. Perfect. Right, I just programmed the sat-nav in to get me back here because I have no idea where I am. So let's go for a drive. So, the electromotor that is available in the CLA at launch is what's called a CLA 250 Plus. Now this is specifically 272 horsepower, but that's it. There's no CLA 350 or 300 or anything like that. There's just one, the 250. Now I should add, first impressions of driving it initially in Copenhagen, it was very, very responsive. Admittedly, the one I did have access to was a 350, but I did put that in eco mode to reduce the power output. But driving the 251 is actually as responsive as I think as most people are going to need. Basically, the 0 to 60 of this car is about 6.7 seconds, and that is good. I always like pretty much any car under 8 seconds. That's my sweet spot. And the fact this is electric as well. I mean, well, let me show you. Let me put this into sport mode. Perfect position here to do this. 3, 2, 1, go. 30, 40, 50, 60. There we go. We'll see what the time was on the screen. Now, admittedly, if you're going to launch your car every few seconds, you're not going to get the car's advertised range. And the range of this car is 484 miles. Well, up to, anyway. That's what's quoted on WLTP. Can we all just take a moment and just say how cool that is? Because for EVs, I mean, that is more than what most petrol engines are doing. That's crazy. And yes, for those of you about to write in the comments section right now and go, well, that's what's quoted, you'll never get that anyway. Yes, that's what's quoted in ideal conditions, but even then, it's north of 400 miles. That's brilliant. Now, I actually put out a post on YouTube asking what you guys wanted me to cover on the review, and I'm trying to include as many things as possible. Sadly, a range test isn't something I can easily do in the very, very short time that I've got with the UK version of this car today. I would love to do one, but I was plotting out how long it was going to take. It was going to take 7 hours. That's an entire day. No one wants to see me just talk to camera like this for 7 hours, so it was more so just to, I guess, almost like prove a point. But yeah, it would be interesting to do. I just need to find a quiet week where I'm not making videos, because that would be a very short video to explain, hey, it did do it or it didn't do it. I'm pretty sure it will be north of 400 miles though. Basically, Mercedes-Benz have put a lot, and I mean a lot, of technology into this car. For example, this actually has a gearbox, believe it or not. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure only a Porsche Taycan has that. There might be a couple of other EVs out there that have gearboxes, but this has a 2-speed gearbox. So apparently when you go up to about 60-ish miles an hour, that's when the second gear will click in to basically improve the economy even further. And apparently you won't notice it. It has like a triple clutch system in the back. So yeah, I don't think anyone who's going to go out and then try it and feel it change gear, I don't think you will. It's just more of an efficiency kind of thing in the background. Now, there was also a very important thing as well when it comes to charging. Now, this car quoted, can charge at about 320 kilowatts. In English, that will add about 200 miles of range in about 10 minutes. That's pretty cool. However, of course, that is only going to work on specific chargers out there. I haven't tested those actual charge speeds just because every CLA that I've got into, I mean, this one's 92% at the moment, every CLA that I've got in basically has charge, and trying to run it down to the point where it would actually do those fast charges has been a bit of a challenge. Now, one thing that actually cropped up a few months ago, and this was actually reported on by a few news articles that I'd read, was that the Mercedes CLA 250 Plus, so this one that I'm driving right now, didn't have a 400 volt step-down converter. So in English, basically, as this is an 800 volt architecture car, it wasn't going to work on quite a few charge points. That's what was quoted. I'd actually driven the CLA UK version a couple of weeks ago, and I'd been testing it out to find out and try and get to the bottom of this. And do you want to know the crazy thing? I've actually tried this on all of the charge points locally, for ones that are 50 kilowatts, 100 kilowatts, 150 kilowatts. There was a 350 kilowatt one as well, or it might have been 300. But I tested it on them all, and this car worked on them all. The only thing I can suggest for people who are really considering this car, because there is that small print just shown here on their website, just have a look on the Multimedia System, because if you search for a charge point on this Multimedia System, if you see it on here, it's definitely going to work with this car. For me, I haven't had any issue with it at all, like with certainly charging on lower rated chargers, should I say. It's been absolutely fine, but it's just something that I would advise checking out. So have a look at the charge points locally near you, compare that with, for example, with ZapMap, and I don't know, let me know how you get on. I know there will be a few people who own a Mercedes-Benz CLA who will be watching this video, because you guys have messaged me and asked me when I'm going to make this video. Let me know how you've got on in the comments down below, please. But yeah, this has plenty of power. We're at 92% at the moment remaining, and we still have 395 miles range. And I can imagine that this car's probably not been driven the smoothest in the 800 odd miles that this car's done. But yeah, I mean, considering I'm on, well, I wouldn't really call this off-road, but it's certainly not a very smooth road, because I drove this exact road getting to this place in my car, and my car was a lot more bumpier on the road. This is a lot smoother. I remember driving this, the CLA in Copenhagen, and I was like, this is very, very smooth, but Copenhagen's roads are much better, and driving this here in the UK on our roads, where they're not the best, case in point just there, big bump, yeah, it is very smooth, and even driving it the other week as well, on multiple different types of roads, it's a very, very smooth car. Now, another suggestion from that YouTube post was to work out the charging costs. I've worked them out for you. Here's how much it costs to charge this car. Now, just like fuel stations, charging costs vary massively, so it does completely depend on where you get your electricity from. So for example, on most public chargers, they can be around 60 to 80 pence per kilowatts. But for example, one near me right now, at the time of recording this, is 79 pence. Times that by the car's battery size, that's 85 kilowatt hours, that's £67.15, which kind of brings me on to the point, not many people are going to use public charging. I appreciate some people have to, but that's one of the huge perks of an EV, is that you of course can charge at home, where electricity is much, much cheaper. So for example, if I use this charger, this is my charger that I have at home, an Ohmi Home Pro, it would be 29 pence times 85, which is £24.65. I can do better. If you charge off-peak, that number goes down to £5.95, which is again a thing I think about 400 volt and 800 volt. I don't think that matters massively, just because most EV owners, and they'll back me up in the comments, most of you guys don't use public charging because it's just so expensive. You want to charge at home where you can. Obviously, I appreciate not everyone has a driveway, but yeah, charging this at home is just over £5. And now on to the pros and cons. So of course, pros bring all the good things, and then cons being things that you should consider if you're thinking about buying this car. So starting out with pros first, incredible range. I've got to start with that one. It's almost 500 miles. There aren't many car manufacturers that have done that. I know one or two that have gone over the 500 mile mark, but this is just under that. Quoted, I know, maybe I'll do a range test in the future. Then the multimedia system, this new MBUX with the MBUX Generation 4 Load of cool features on there. I'm sure Mercedes-Benz are going to be adding stuff to that over time. So yeah, really good to see. Their multimedia systems are always pretty good anyway. One of the reasons why I bought my car, but this one just looks even better. And then the ride. The ride is very, very comfortable. The seats are a little bit still on the sort of firmer side, but there again, I bought my car knowing that anyway. And yeah, it just irons out all the bumps. Just driving my car on that road over there and then immediately driving this like an hour later, I know where the bumps were and they were quite firm in my car. And in this, it just irons them out. Probably due to the car's weight as well. It can sort of absorb some of those bumps a bit. But yeah, very, very comfortable ride. Then we get onto the cons. Well, first and foremost, it's those rear seats. I mean, the floor is so high up in the back, it would not be great for me doing a long journey in the back. That wouldn't put me off buying the car because, I mean, I sit in the front and I never really have anyone in the back anyway. But these are considerations if you have like a family and you constantly have people in the back. These are things to think about and consider. The other thing, I'm going to put this slightly on the cons list. Although it's very, very comfortable to drive and very, very smooth on the road, the seats are on the firm side, and I'm only just comparing this to the competition. Some other competitors out there have much, much softer seats. But there again, I think I would be okay with it. I'm just pointing out in comparison to other brands. On the final con is, of course, the multimedia system being all touch. I know I said it was a good multimedia system, so it was part of the pros, and now it's also part of the cons as well. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself slightly, but I'm just pointing out for people that don't like touch-based systems. There's a lot of touch stuff in this, and I appreciate it's a 2025 release car. A lot of cars that are released in 2025 are all touch these days. It's probably just something we're going to have to get used to, I guess. Me personally, I'd rather buttons on the steering wheel, at least, but I bought my car and it's got touch buttons, and you do get used to it. I'm just pointing it out. So yes, I'm curious guys, would you consider the Mercedes-Benz CLA? It certainly has loads of tech on the inside, and with the range on it, I think it's pretty good. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm curious, I will try and reply to every single one of you. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, see you then.